Hello, I apparently have a problem with self-esteem and I don't know where it comes from. I am a very capable person, especially according to other people, but I don't feel that way at all. After a few years of absence due to 2 consecutive motherhoods, I have the opportunity to return to my profession. I am given a chance to start in an exceptional company, and I am starting to give back. Am I good enough? Will I be able to handle it? Isn't it too big a step for me? Such nonsense, but it clearly affects me a lot. I'm afraid of exposing myself, so the last few years I've mainly been behind the stove, the vacuum cleaner, and my lessons at school. I feel stupid. Before, I definitely had a bright future ahead of me, but it so happened that I chose to be next to my children. Somehow I couldn't combine the two. I don't know how others manage, to be honest. But now I have a chance to prove myself for real, and I'm afraid. Everyone will be younger than me, without children, and with more experience. But it's not just about proving it. I also need more funds. Everything has doubled in price. How do I overcome my fear? I also need to learn new software as quickly as possible to keep up. I just read a message from someone who's feeling pretty overwhelmed at a huge turning point in their life. And if any of that sounded familiar to you, if any of it resonated, I really want you to hear one thing loud and clear. This feeling is not a sign of weakness. Actually, it's a sign that you are right on the edge of some major growth. So let's dive in and explore this feeling together. You know that powerful mix of fear, self-doubt, and the sheer pressure of a brand new opportunity? That is a deeply, profoundly human experience. It's that anxiety you get when you're standing at a new doorway, wondering if you even have the right key anymore. You are absolutely not alone in feeling this way. Now, here's the trick our minds play on us, and it's a big one. We experience our own doubts, our own anxieties, our own internal chaos in full HD. But when we look at everyone else, we only see their highlight reel, that confident, polished exterior they show the world. We're basically comparing our own messy, behind-the-scenes footage with their finished movie. And you know what? That's a comparison we're never, ever gonna win. Okay, so what's the first step to getting some control over a huge emotion like this? Well, you have to give it a name. The moment you can put a label on what you're feeling, you take it from this vague, overwhelming cloud of dread and turn it into something concrete, something you can actually look at and start to work with. So let's do that. Let's put a label on this experience. So what is this specific fear really? It's that sinking feeling in your stomach, that anxiety that at any second someone's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, aha, we know you don't really belong here. We know you're not as smart or as capable as you've been pretending to be. It's that deep, nagging fear of being found out. And guess what? This experience actually has a name. Imposter syndrome. It's a very real, well-documented psychological pattern. And I want to be really clear, it is not a personal feeling. It's incredibly common, especially during big life transitions, like jumping back into the workforce. Just knowing that is so important because it shifts the question from, what's wrong with me, to, okay, how do I manage this totally normal human experience? All right, so we've named it. Now what? How do we start to challenge it? Well, probably the most powerful tool we have is something called cognitive reframing. This isn't about positive thinking or ignoring reality. It's about looking at the very same set of facts, but from a much more accurate and much more empowering point of view. Let's start with the first story that inner critic is telling. It's a story about being out of the game, right? About time spent doing things that don't count. It's a story about falling behind. But is that what was really going on? This shows the reframe perfectly. What that inner critic dismisses as just time off was actually an intense, real-world masterclass in management. You weren't just behind the stove. You were managing supply chains, nutrition, and logistics. You weren't just vacuuming. You were maintaining a complex operational environment. You were managing budgets, juggling chaotic schedules, navigating crises, and providing constant emotional regulation for others. These aren't minor things. These are high-level skills. Okay, on to the second story that inner voice is spinning. The comparison game, the fear that your age and your life experience are actually liabilities, that you're somehow at a disadvantage in a world that seems to value youth and a straight-line career path. This is another huge pillar of imposter syndrome. So let's reframe this one too. This story isn't about being older. It's about being more mature. And that maturity, it brings incredible value to the table. After navigating the sheer complexity of raising a family, you are likely more patient, way more stress-resistant, and have a deeper sense of responsibility. In a chaotic workplace, those aren't disadvantages. Believe me, they are superpowers. And here's the objective reality, the fact of the matter. A hiring decision is a business decision. Companies invest their time and their money in people they believe will deliver value. They saw your potential, your skills, and all of your experience. Yes, all of it. And they made a calculated investment in you. This wasn't charity. It was a vote of confidence. Now, understanding all this is one thing, but really feeling it in your bones, that's another. And to bridge that gap from your head to your heart, we need action. Small, concrete, totally manageable actions are the perfect antidote to that feeling of being overwhelmed. They build real-world proof that you can show your inner critic. So here's a simple 3-part plan. First, shrink your focus. Don't think about the next 5 years or even the whole job. Just think about the first day, or maybe just the first week. Second, break those huge, scary tasks into micro goals. Learn the software is terrifying, but watch one 10-minute tutorial today? That's doable. Competence is built one tiny step at a time. And third, create what I call a proof list. Literally write down every single thing you've accomplished, big or small, and every difficulty you've overcome. When that voice of doubt starts whispering, you'll have a written dossier of hard evidence to shut it down. So we've reframed the thoughts, and we've outlined some actions. But honestly, the most powerful shift of all comes from changing the voice we use when we talk to ourselves. It's about turning our perspective inward, but with compassion. Let's be really, really clear about what the goal is here. That pressure you're feeling, it comes from this idea that you have to somehow prove your worth to everybody else. But that whole idea, it's completely flawed. This journey you're on, it is not about proving anything to anyone. It's about reconnecting with the capable, competent, and resilient person you have always been. It's about returning to a core part of your own identity. You are not starting from scratch. You are simply coming home to yourself.
And so I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. If your own child, years from now, came to you feeling these exact same fears, what would you say? Would you tell them they're not good enough, that they should just play it safe? Or would you look them in the eye and tell them that fear is just the price of admission for a growing, meaningful life? Just for a moment, try talking to yourself with that same fierce, unconditional compassion. Because you don't just deserve to hear it, you've more than earned it.